Hey there, welcome to another Dreadwinter Devlog. It's been quite a while since the last one, and I've been meaning to give an update on the game, but as it enters its later stages of development, I haven't had much time to do anything other than work on it. I'm aiming to have the game ready for release in November this year, so there's only so many weeks left for development. That being said, I do want to give an update to anyone that keeps up for YouTube, so here we are. I also do monthly write-ups on the game's Steam community hub, so check those out if you'd like to keep up with Dreadwinter's development. As a reminder, or an introduction for anyone new, Dreadwinter is a cozy fantasy coffee shop sim with a slightly spooky touch. You're put in charge of Dreadwinter, a small struggling cafe, as you attempt to rebuild your life and find the direction you want to go in. This could be growing the cafe into the next Starbucks, or focusing on mastering your craft and becoming a community hub, or some combination of both. There's also the option of exploring the world and becoming a famous adventurer. The core idea behind the game is to give players the freedom to figure out what they want to do, and allow them to play the game in different ways. At the time of the last devlog, the game was at a point where the core gameplay was complete, and what I needed to do was to work on additional content, so that there's more to do after the first few hours of the game. If I were to compare it to building a house, it would be that the house itself is built, the utilities have been installed, and maybe one room has been decorated. It's livable, but I wouldn't say it would be the best experience yet. What's left to do is to decorate the other rooms, and make sure that everything works together nicely to make the ideal house. Since the last devlog, the game has progressed quite a lot in that regard. Most of the work now consists of a lot of small features and additions made to Dreadwinter, and I fleshed out the direction that I want the game to go in as the player progresses towards the endgame, which is where development is currently focused on. Let's use coffee brewing as an example. At the start of the game, you can only brew a simple coffee, but you can quickly unlock the cauldron, which allows you to mix in ingredients to create different drinks. You can then acquire the ability to buy and mix in different coffee beans, which can increase or multiply the price of your drinks. Initially, different coffee beans had their own flavour profiles, such as being extra bitter or sweet, which allowed you to make a coffee that would fit a customer's request for a certain flavour. I think this was quite confusing for players and somewhat pointless, as it was better to use the cauldron to create a drink with that flavour profile. So I changed the coffee bean system to focus on increasing the price, which is easier to understand and more rewarding. After that, you can start to make espresso, which is a separate process, and you can also buy recipe books which unlock additional drinks, as well as seasonal drinks which are a little more complicated to make, and give bonuses if you serve them during a certain season. This gameplay progression is reflected in how you bond with your regular customers who will visit each week. Their first order will always be coffee, then they'll start to request certain drinks and flavours, where you need to keep a note of their opinions of the drink you give them. They will also request an espresso drink at some point, which will require you to unlock the skill, and their final request will be to figure out their favourite drink from the knowledge you have. You're not required to bond with your regular customers, but it does unlock another way to progress the game. For example, bonding with Peabody, a dwarf builder, will allow you to expand the cafe and other areas for free, and bonding with Alice, a legendary adventurer, will allow you to instantly clear dungeons without fighting. Adventuring and combat is optional, but there are relics that you can find in the dungeons that can be placed in a museum within the observatory in town, so if you don't want to engage in combat, there is a way to acquire the relics without it. There's currently 3 dungeons that are designed and in the game, and the plan is to have 5 or so dungeons that you can explore, which should also cover the adventuring route of the game's story. It's less than I initially wanted to have, but it turns out that it is a lot of work to make, so I figure it's best to keep it short and sweet. The final way of progressing the game is through money, which is fairly standard for a sim game, but there's a few ways of doing it. You can focus on making money through sheer volume of sales, which involves growing interest, increasing how often customers arrive, to the point where they'll fill every available seat immediately. To fulfill these orders in time, you'll need to automate, which you can do by acquiring machines to automatically grind and brew coffee or even other drinks. Drinks made by machines will always be of the same basic quality, whereas making drinks by hand can result in higher quality, which increases the sale price. Eventually, you'll gain access to little demons, which are mechanical demon servants that assist you. There's servamons, which are only capable of serving coffee, as the name suggests, and then baristamons, which can brew and serve coffee. You could also focus on the coffee itself and create drinks by hand that sell for high prices. On top of using different coffee beans to increase the price, you can unlock the ability to create high quality coffee ranging from bronze, silver and gold to a perfect coffee. The price increases massively at the higher ranks, and you can unlock skills that make getting a higher rank more consistent. Customers can also tip when you make drinks manually, which is based on a percentage of the final sale price, so there's potential for your earnings to snowball quite fast. I'm not sure how high you can make the sale price go, but eventually you unlock a farm to grow your own coffee beans in, which can develop bonuses that increase the price and can stack over multiple generations. There currently isn't a limit on the multiplier, so I think it's really based on your patience and dedication to big numbers. Alongside building on the current features, there's also more content being added to the game to make life in Lunara, the town you live in, more interesting. The community is one of the core aspects of the game, and I wanted to make sure that the town is quite lively. I added a few community events where the townspeople gather every week, such as karaoke night on Thursdays, or the Weirdo Club, which gathers on a Saturday afternoon. If I have time, I'd like to add a karaoke minigame to make it more interactive, but if not, there's a lot of unique interactions and unlikely friendships forming, so it should be fun to check out anyway. Alongside that are more seasonal events that expand on various features of the game, such as Lover's Leap, which is a romance-focused event during the rainy season. In terms of gameplay content, there's also additional customization options to personalize Dreadwinter, and now your apartment as well. The furniture, flooring and wallpaper you buy for the cafe can also be used in the apartment you're staying in, with the exception of machines, which can't be used outside the cafe anyways. I've been working on adding different types of furniture and decorations, which should hopefully fit in either Dreadwinter or your apartment. There's also now the ability to customize the bar area in Dreadwinter. Before, while you could change the flooring and wallpaper in the cafe, the bar would stay the same, which resulted in colour clashes with some of the themes. The plan is to have themes for the bar that come with the wallpapers you buy, and you can change them separately. Finally, there's been quite a few additions and improvements to quality of life features within the game. A lot of it is small things that you probably wouldn't notice were an issue in the first place, like businesses having more flexible opening hours, or enemies not immediately starting a battle after you've moved to another level in a dungeon. But there's also some gameplay features that can be adjusted, such as the casual mode that disables minigames when making coffee and increases customer patience. That covers everything I wanted to talk about in this devlog. For the most part, development is going as planned, with some bumps here and there, but I think a November release should be possible. After Dreadwinter releases, I'd like to spend more time working on YouTube content as well. There are other games I want to make after Dreadwinter, so there probably would be devlogs for those, but I'd also like to make some more educational videos, such as game dev guides and tutorials. And there's other games I've played that I want to talk about, so that could also be a possibility. For now though, if you'd like to see more, like and subscribe, give Dreadwinter a wishlist, and thanks for watching.